All praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutation to all the brothers out there pushing this word, sincerity, and the truth. And shalom on all the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word, sincerity, and the truth. We out here once again. Let the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans know we are God's chosen people. We're the Israelites according to the Holy Bible. We come out week in and week out diligently, prophesizing to you the doctrine of Yahweh Shai, and prophesizing to you the downfall of this wicked kingdom known as America, which is Babylon the Great, according to the Holy Bible. And what people don't realize is this is the spirit of Yahweh Shai. Baba Shai, could a brother get Revelation 19 and 10?
This is Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, See, you do it not. I am your fellow servant and of your brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy.
Right, the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So we coming out to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom. And I say it diligently because it started with our elders and their elders all the way back to Elder Abba, you know, and on down to our elders apostles, which you see to this day of GMS. Prophesies to you that America is going to fall and the way it's going to fall, you know. And the ultimate destruction is thermonuclear missiles. And this is what we're hoping for. This is what our mindset, as the scriptures say, the Lord does nothing before he reveals his secrets into the servants of prophets. So if he's revealing his secret to his servants of prophets, they're going to have the spirit and testimony of Yahweh Shai. Because Yahweh Shai is the one that's going to come back to do the bidding of the Lord.
And this is Isaiah 8 and 20. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
To the law and to the testimony, whose testimony? Testimony of Yahweh Shai. If to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this gospel, and the reason why I say to the law as well, because it's written throughout it's written all throughout the scriptures, the coming of Yahweh Shai. Almost every book in the Bible speaks of Yahweh Shai, his return or his coming, and what he's coming to do. Because even in the first time Yahweh Shai came, he came in the spirit of against the ancient Roman Empire by waking up our people and bringing them back to the knowledge of Yahweh Shai, the correct doctrine. That's going against the empire of Esau, Edom, and all these other nations. So to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this gospel, it's because there's no light in it. You have a lot of groups, you have a lot of camps that claim that they're Israelites, that don't teach you the correct doctrine. They don't come in the spirit of Yahweh Shai because they're not telling you about the prophecies. And they're not warning you about the judgments of the Lord. That's why it's going to be a great number of Israelites that's going to be destroyed.
Ezekiel, is Ezekiel chapter 35, starting at verse 1. Moreover, the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it.
Right, and this is a commandment from the Lord. He said, set thy face against Mount Seir. And who is Mount Seir? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. You know, that's his home. That's where he's from. You know, that's where he originates from. So this is how you know who it's talking about. And it says to prophesy. Now, what are we going to prophesy against? Mount Seir, which is Esau, Edom.
And say unto it, Thus said the Lord, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. I will stretch out my hand against thee. I will make thee most desolate.
Right, see, the Lord said he is against thee, and he will stretch out his hand against thee. And this is why I said the spirit of prophecy is the spirit of Yahweh Shai. The testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. Because throughout the scriptures, you see that the mindset of the Lord is to destroy America. It's to bring this place down financially, economically, morally, spiritually. And this is what's happening right now. And then it's going to be a physical destruction. And amongst that physical destruction, Yahweh Shai and the heavenly host of angels are going to come back and take part in that destruction. You know?
I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord.
And I'm about to get Revelation 14. Revelation 14, like the 10th verse. We're talking about the death of the land.
Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 4. I will lay thy cities to waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord.
Right. See, and the Lord is in the process of laying your city desolate. How? Because the Lord is bringing famine. He's allowing Esau to bring that new digital system in. You know, and that's gonna disrupt a lot of people's lives. You know, a lot of people are going to have to conform to Esau's new system of currency and his new way of living. You know, because you're not going to be able to operate in his society unless you have the MOT to the people. You know, so that's going to change a lot of people's lives. A lot of people are going to lose their minds because they're not going to be able to feed their families, not going to be able to work. You know, they're not going to be able to get the necessities that they need in order to survive, and ultimately, they're not going to be able to be in their comforts because now the Lord is going to allow people. He's going to take people out of their comfort zone. But see, it's not going to affect the elect because their comfort zone is in the scriptures.
This is Revelation chapter 14 and verse 9. It states, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in their forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Right, in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So this lets you know that when that judgment comes on this place, America, and other parts of the earth, but this main place is America, that the Lord is going to be here. This is how you know that this is the spirit and testimony of Yahweh Shai. This is what he's purchased. And this is why you see a lot of prophecy happening on the earth. So this is why we come out and prophesy, because this is an urgent time, you know. This is a time like never before. And as we always go back to the time of Noah, even our Lord and Savior gave in a parable and said like the times of Noah, so shall this be. You know, it was an urgent time during that time because when the Lord said it was over with for prophesying, it was over with for speaking the word, and he started to make it to where Noah and his household was going to be in that safe place, you know, in those secret chambers. The rest of the world was in turmoil. Everyone else was in distress until they was destroyed. And it's a time like never before. The Lord is going to outdo what he did in the previous time.
Verse 5, this is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee.
Right. Saying blood shall pursue thee. So Esau, Edom, your blessing was the sword, and you used it to your fullest extent. You know, you still in the process because you got to keep up with but you're using your blessing to the best of your ability and wickedness. That's why we have biological warfare, chemical warfare, psychological warfare. All of this is part of that sword that you used, and your main target was the Israelites. You know, and that's all a part of prophecy. You did exactly what you were purposed to do, punish them. But now that time is coming to an end. The Lord is going to punish you. And just like you used your blessing to come against us, the Lord is going to allow you to go down in the same traps that you used for the nation of Israel. And not only that, you finna get paid back a thousand years of hardcore slavery. You know. So you have to
Yeah. This is you said like a time like no other. So we're just gonna get Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
Right. Alas, it is like that day is great. It's like a time like no other. So nothing else on the face of the earth is nothing else in history that has happened on the face of the earth will be comparable to what's going to happen right now. It's only similitudes, but nothing is going to be on the magnitude that the Lord is going to do to this nation, America, because this is the most wicked kingdom on the face of the earth. And then it said at the time of Jacob's trouble. So 2/3 of our people, which the whole nation of Israel is going to be in it, but 2/3 of our people are going to be affected the most. And why? Because during the times of your grace period, you wasn't building the skills nor building a relationship with the Heavenly Father. So the Lord is not going to protect you, neither is He going to guide you, and you don't have the necessary skills spiritually to be able to endure all the evils that the Lord is going to bring on the earth compared to the elect.
Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which stand for the sons of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time.
Right. See, a time of trouble that has never been since there's been a nation. So the Lord is going to bring famine on a whole nother scale. He's going to bring violence on a whole nother scale the earth has never seen before. You know, where you seeing men, women, and children actively making, men, women, and children making bad decisions, and worst case scenario, worst outcome is happening to them. You can hear it, you can see it, you're going to see a time like never before. The Lord is going to allow the spirits of vengeance to be out at full force. You know, we get that too in I believe it's Rock 39.
NLT. Then there will be a time of anguish greater than any since nations first came into existence. But at that time, every one of your people whose name is written in the book will be rescued.
Right, everyone that's going into the elect, everyone whose name is written in the book. So everyone who the Lord has in His mind to save, you're going to be saved. You're going to be delivered from this time, from all these evils. That's what salvation goes into. Salvation is being saved out of distress. So the whole earth is going to be in a distress, you know. But only the elect, like the brother got in Jeremiah 30, he shall be saved out of it. You know, that's also said in Matthew 24, where it said, we have to get it because I forgot how it works. He that endures to the end, the same shall be saved.
Real quick, this is Jeremiah 9, verse 19. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion. How art we spoiled? We are greatly confounded, because we have forsaken the land, because our dwellers have cast us out. Yet hear the word of the Lord Yahweh, O ye women, and let your ear receive the word of His mouth, and teach your daughters wailing, and everyone her neighbor lamentation.
Right.
Just going into you read Ezekiel, I think the 2nd chapter goes into it was a book that was written like a roll of a book, and what was written inside that book: lamentation, mourning, and woe. So this is going into the type of vibration that Heavenly Father is about to place upon His place, especially upon the women of our nation, where it's really sold out into Esau, Edom. Because by doing that, you're taking the comfort of this God of the world, not the God of the Holy Bible. So right here it says, teach your daughters willing. So that goes to show you it's going to be a whole lot of distress coming upon the so-called women of our nation, when all hell breaks loose within the society.
And then the mindset that Esau, Edom has pushed out on this Western mindset, he has forced you into a mindset to push away your only form of salvation, which is the man. Because the man is your form of protection, your form of salvation, your form of stability, just like Yahweh Shai is for the elect. That's their form of protection, stability. He is the head.
This is 1 Timothy 2:15. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
Right, so he said women can be saved, but women going to be saved with a purpose. They're going to be saved in childbearing. We're not going to just save any old type of women. It's got to be a righteous woman.
Back into 1 Timothy 2:15. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
Right, so he continued on this phrase, said if they continue, meaning if you continue in these ways, you have a standard that you have to live up to. Just like we as men, we understood that the Lord has standards. We have to live up to His standards. You have to live up to the standards of the Lord as well, which so happen to be the same standards of that man. So you will be saved. It will be women that be saved. They're going to be saved with a purpose. But it said if they continue in the standards of the Lord.
You know, like back in the day, they used to have like a concept. If you had perfect attendance, or if you had like what straight A's and B's, no C's, you would be exempt from the final test, the finals. And it's the same thing with the Most High. You know, we know at the end of the day, it starts with grace for the elect, but at the same time frame, like the brother said, it's qualifiers that one must meet, both men and women, in order to be saved as well, man. And only the elect will have these forms or these types of attributes, man.
Well, I can say these power hungry women, you're not gonna make it, because women want to be men because they know the order that a man is above the woman. You know, in the ancient days, the women would call their husbands Lord, you know. But see, women nowadays, they want to be in a position of authority, of power, you know what I'm saying? So they seek to be the man. You know, women talking about, you put me 10 toes down in front of a man, I can handle him every time. What are you talking about? You have no need to even be trying to handle a man. You need to just fall in position and play your role as a woman, you know? Like the brother going into, you have a purpose to be a nurturer, okay? To be a helpmeet, raise the children, and things of that nature. You have no business trying to handle a man, man. That's why when the Lord started bringing down this wrath, all you know, bulldagger women, you women who feel like you don't need a man, feel like you are more powerful or stronger than a man, you know, the Lord's gonna test that theory, man, and see how you're gonna handle it, man. But that's when you're gonna realize that you should have played your part, stayed in your position. But it's gonna be too late then.
That's right there. Get Deuteronomy 28 and 54. I know you have it. Deuteronomy 28 and 54, bro. Jeremiah 31 and 22.
This is
because even if you go into the time frame of Xerxes in the book of Esther, you know, you had where the king was disrespected. And what did he do? He removed that so-called princess from her role because all his council was saying, look, if she does that to you in front of everybody, then lower class men has no chance.
Right.
So to remove that counsel, they put her out of position.
made an example out of
They
it.
made an example out of her, and that through the spirit, that was another way for Esther to actually get in that slot to fulfill prophecy. But get Jeremiah 31 and 22.
In Jeremiah 31:22, how long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter?
Right.
For the Lord Yahweh created a new thing in the earth.
A new thing in the earth, meaning during the ancient time, this new thing never existed. Go ahead.
A woman should compass a man.
A woman shall compass a man in modern time. And mainly this has the effect on who? The Israelites. All right, because another way to bring a nation down is releasing servants. Our women are our servants, right? When you go to these other nations, their women basically abide by their culture and standards in most cases. Now, when you go into that term compass in the Hebrew, it's also a definition says to lead. So just like the brother was going into in modern times dealing with the nation of Israel, you have women leading our nation, whether it's in the household or actually making the most from your income. Or you may work for her, even if you're single, she may be your supervisor or your employer.
I was saying Tyler Perry came out just this week and he stated how black women are making more money than black men.
And he's the main culprit of that shit.
Exactly.
He put that, he was one of the reasons why that so-called image is out there in the world based on his movies and his plays, man.
And his role.
And his role.
in his movie.
That's right, bro.
But also too, the Lord made, like you said, the Lord created a new thing. He put women over men, and then He made it a common mindset. Like it's a common thing over here in the West.
That's right.
You know, because then you go back to talking about the East or how things used to be. They look at you, they look at it weird, like they never existed. Like that's a part of history that they erased. Where women was once a servant of a man.
Mm-hmm.
So He made it a common mindset over here in the West, because you really don't get the chance to talk to someone from the East that really had that old culture embedded into them, to where you can talk to them on the basis about this topic and they actually related to you.
And I'm gonna tell you, and the reason why our women is like this is mainly because of America. Think about this. If you take the same women that's in America and you place them in the East, they wouldn't act like this. Now get the same women from the East and move them to America. America has that influence. It's the whore.
Going into the example you just brought through the scripture about the king removing that woman who being rebellious because the other one gonna follow suit. So they see how Eve or these westernized women are come from other countries. What? They leave their position, their heritage, their ways to start acting and behaving like the Western women. Man.
And I want to say that account goes into her name was Vashti. The king asked her to come because he wanted to behold her presence. She was beautiful, as well as he wanted to show her off, but she refused. So because of their refusal, she was removed. She was no longer princess.
Right.
And I get that Deuteronomy. I'll pass back to the brother. Deuteronomy 28 and 54, bro.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender.
Go down, bro. My bad. Maybe 56 now. Tender, delicate woman.
Okay, come. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 56.
Right.
The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness.
And that's how tender our women once were.
Damn.
Okay? Like this woman was so tender, our women were so tender, basically they didn't even want their feet, the bottom of their feet, touching the ground. Go ahead, bro.
Her eyes shall be evil toward the husband
Like,
of her
look,
bosom.
hey, her eye, going into her mindset. Case in point, Tyrese. Right? Tyrese said he's going through a divorce and he doesn't even know why. Right? So now he was saying that when he met this woman initially, she was making it seem like it was never about the money, forget the money. He met her, he said, in a $20 sundress. She was just simple. But then he said now she wants a divorce and she wants $20,000 for that child per month. Why? Because nigga, you was the mission. You was the mission.
Yep.
She wanted the bag. You was executed for the bag. But that just goes to show you how a woman's mindset is evil toward her husband.
Right.
Tyrese was married to the woman. Meanwhile, he's looking for love and she's looking for his bag.
And that shows how delusional these women are because they'll sit up and say they don't need a man. So what she need Tyrese for? His money. She needs that man's money. That's why she set him up for the okie doke, man.
Yeah.
And that if a woman really sit back and think about what she's saying, she don't need a man, it really logically don't make no goddamn sense. Because what you don't need a man for? Because if you have a flat, you're gonna call a mechanic or such, some man, your man friend to change that tire, right? You ain't finna call no woman, all right? If your plumbing fuck up, I don't know a woman plumber to this day. I'm not saying ain't none out there, but when 9 times out of 10 you call a plumber, it's gonna be a man. You call law enforcement, it's gonna be a man. Okay? If most cases your oil needs changed, a man finna do it. So what do you not need a man for? You get with a man, get pregnant by him, or get this agreement and take his money when you leave him. So really, what don't you need a man for?
And they show you also that example in the animal kingdom, right? Because you had this woman, she was basically making comparison if a woman was on an island with 20 men compared to 20 women versus one man.
Population.
Yeah. So what she was basically saying that she was politicking saying that society would be better off if it was 20
like more women. Was it more men?
more men than that in one woman.
How does that even
That
make
doesn't make
sense?
sense. But look, this is the point. They show you this in the animal kingdom. Look, we have our parents had cows and stuff like that. You can have 50 heifers and one bull. That's all you need. 50 heifers and one bull. That's all you need. So that theory alone shut down that. Now you put 20 bulls out there on one heifer, and you use example 1 versus example 2 and see who will populate the furthest.
And then on top of that, if you got one woman and 15 men, when she becomes impregnated, whose seed is that? You're gonna have to get a blood test. If all the men knock her off that same day and she come pregnant, you don't know who the fuck the father is. But if you got one man with 50 women, and he hit all of them. We know where that seed came from.
That
You
shows
know?
you it's an abomination because the scriptures goes into how you're supposed to mix the seed. You know, so you got all these different men's seeds all in one body.
Right.
You know,
That's where diseases come from. My bad.
Oh, you go ahead.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's where you know the Most High said, you know, a woman should be to one man.
That's it, bro.
You know,
That's
just
it.
go back to his order.
That's it.
going back to the animal world, like I think the other Apostle Bar made that statement through the spirit. Like you got one rooster, you got all those different hens, and when you get another rooster in there, they're gonna start fighting automatically, man.
That's the same thing with bulls.
Yep.
That's the reason why you can't have two bulls in one house.
Yep. Yep.
And I get the Lion Kingdom. All right, can I just break this?
Sure, go ahead.
Just get that Deuteronomy 28.
Back in Deuteronomy 28. Back in Deuteronomy 28, 56 again, go down. Verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, for her delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and towards her daughter.
Right, and the reason why I brought that precept off of the spirit, that tender and delicateness, is actually going into what? Our women would lose their feminine capability.
Yeah.
So now they're all masculine and so on and so forth.
This Susanna, chapter 1, verse 1. There dwelt a man in Babylon called Joachim, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chelseas, a very fair woman, and one that feared the Lord. Jump down to verse 31. It says, and now Susanna was a very delicate woman, and beauteous to behold. So the delicate goes into like someone that's soft, feminine. You know, so now you think in this society, everything is adverse because you got the man of sin being into rulership. So he has pretty much turned everything upside down in society.
And if you know women, really women don't want to leave. That's why once a woman conquers a so-called alpha male, once that woman conquers that man, what happens? She leaves. She's saying you're not man enough. Right? So even in the spirit, even by nature, that woman wants to be conquered. But when she conquers you, you're no longer appealing, man. And I'm going to say this for the record. Look, man, if a woman is disrespecting you, you headshot. Point blank period. If she can't get it right, she got to go on. Because even as brothers, we get into it, but there's certain boundaries we don't go beyond. A woman would go below the belt. And when she goes so far below the belt, she doesn't respect you. And you'll never get that fucking respect back.
And your power as a man comes by walking away.
That's it. How you hurt a woman, you leave her.
Got a precept. Perfect. Perfect for that. I'm speaking on what you had said too. Like I said with Susanna, it said she was a fair woman, but it also said that she feared the Lord. And that goes into her quality. You know, because there's fair women, you know, there's beautiful women and all around the earth, all around in America. You know, these women they messed up, but they still, you know, still got a fair look to them. But the difference between the elect woman versus the women now, it says she feared the Lord. You know, and they go back to that with the Son, where it said they should be saved in childbearing if they continue in these qualities. You know, so they have value. You know, where the elect woman, she don't have value. That's what makes her quality. These women, the only value they have is in their beauty, and that's the biggest difference.
All right, this is Sirach 25:23. A wicked woman abated the courage, making a heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that would not comfort her husband
What that's saying?
in distress.
She depresses you. You know, if your heart is wounded, you're heartbroken. If your countenance is low, you're fucking depressed. You have a flat effect. Meaning, although, you know, things may be going around, but you just can't smile because of their wounded heart. And a woman can torment a man just like that. Now, we're not saying all women are like that because we know we have the elect women, the elect woman, and things of that nature. But in most cases in America, our women are heavily influenced by the demonic presence of America.
A woman that would not comfort her husband in distress, making weak hands.
So if your man, can I say this? So if a man gets fired, that woman's supposed to be that support system. If a man is going through something, she's supposed to be a support system. You're not supposed to bash that man as he's going through that trial. No, you're supposed to build him up.
Because a part of that duty is supposed to be the pillar of rest. You know, if you're a pillar of rest, that means you're a pillar. You're basically his support system, like you said. So whenever that man is going through something, or even when he just had a long day, you're supposed to be able to. He's supposed to come home and be rejuvenated. Because what is rest is rejuvenation. You know, to be brought back to a perfect state. You know, that's why even you know, the Lord said, "This is not our rest. This is not our place of rejuvenation." Which the kingdom of heaven, under the vibration of Yahweh Shai, that would be our point of rejuvenation as a nation. So it's the same thing with a woman. When you come home, even from a long day, you know, when she had that meal ready for you, or you know, she had your back, whatever it is that you like, you know, that you need in order to get through what we're going through right now, is that point of rejuvenation for the next day.
It said, "Other woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Give her water. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad."
Right. We see the results of that now. We see the results of women being having liberty. You know, feminization. We see what effects they have, and then you can compare the Western mindset versus the Eastern mindset, and see just, you know, you can look up the statistics. You can see the marriage rate. You can see the violence rate. All of that goes down when women have an Eastern culture, Eastern mindset, like you said. When these women came, from America went over to the East, they had to live under their rules and regulations. A lot of them either be dead or they'll be done changed their mentality. But if you take that same Eastern women and have them over here to the West, they're gonna adopt the ways of the West. And how do we know? Because it happened. You know, we don't even originate over here in the West. So we all had that Eastern culture, and then came over here to America. But the difference is, it was beat out of us, you know, and we was forced into this. Now, this generation that's here now, they willingly doing this, you know. We're telling them, we're teaching them the truth, and they're rejecting.
And that's not to say that you and your woman are not going to have arguments, because, hey, we're in the flesh. According to Apostle Paul, there shall be trouble in the flesh. It's just basically when you're getting battered and beat and there's no respect, you know?
The scripture the brother just read, that's a cold cut on girls' nights out.
Right.
That's a cold cut on that right there. Because, you know, you got to think about when they doing this, it's really like children going up. They ain't got no spiritual guide, so they about to get into all type of abominations, you know?
Yeah, quick one.
I got one more. And here's the point which I was going into. It said, if she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh, and give her a bill of divorce, and let her go.
That's literal. If she doesn't follow your lead or our lead, you know what I'm saying, basically she has to go. And again, that's not saying, okay, y'all got into an argument about the TV or the light bill. No, it's basically when you're getting disrespected, when she don't look at you as a man, it's time to fucking go. But you shouldn't have to prove yourself to the woman when you've been proving yourself to the world.
Right? Because the scriptures, they're going to let you know that there's a difference between opposition and problems. You're going to have problems in your relationship, but you should not have opposition. She shouldn't go oppose your authority and basically challenge you when you make judgment calls. You know, like the brother said, like the scripture said, like Paul said, you're going to have trouble in the flesh, but it shouldn't be to the point of opposition, to the point to where she wants to be the head. And whether that be with the children, whether that be with the household situations or whatever, it should not be an opposition to where Esau, Edom really have to get involved, you know, because there's a lot of situations amongst Jacob. You know, it gets to the point where she called Esau, or she called the services that he had in place to really keep you in line. And it should not be like that. So basically, if it gets to the point like that, or if it's like that, you need to let that woman go. Don't deal with it. You'll save yourself a lot of trouble. So, yeah.
It's Proverbs 21, verse 9. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wild house.
Right, in a wild house. It's better to deal with the elements. It's better to deal with everything else than a wicked woman with a wicked mindset that's always opposing. You're always gonna have stress, because that's unnecessary energy, you know. And that's really opposition from, you know, really that's ultimately Satan on that woman trying to get at you, you know, because Satan uses that's his main tool to get to the woman. That's how he got to Adam. He used Eve. You know, he tried to use Job's wife to get to Job. You know, the same thing with Lot. You know, Lot's wife looked back. You know, and you know she wanted to stay. If she looked back, she had it in the mindset she wanted to stay. Lot had to keep going without it.
If a woman life's mission and within a marriage or relationship, whatever, is to constantly tear her man down, discredited him, try to make him feel like shit. Man, that's an evil woman. She's evil. She's bad. She's no good. Okay? And for some reason, which we know is a demon, what makes her feel good is the seeing you just unravel and deteriorate, man, by feeling less of a man. Because at that point, she's using you as a stepping stone to be conquered, man. Now she's on top of you. Now she's just gonna beat you down to dust. She don't mean you no good, because a woman's supposed to build you up. If you coming in and had a bad day at work, you're tired, you know what I'm saying, your boss been riding you, your woman's supposed to lay back and lay in her bosom, man. She stroke your head and just, comfort you, man. Yeah. But you go home, you don't have a bad day, and lo and behold, she make it worse. Saying all kind of crazy shit. Nigga, we need to get something to eat. You ain't cooked. It's the, and, it might sound like we be beating and bashing women, but that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? We're stating the obvious, man, that America has really fucked women up, especially when it comes to our nation, man. There's a particular role, man, that a woman's supposed to play, and she has abandoned that to try to be something she's not, man, and primarily a man, man. She wants the role of a man.
And that's a heavy point, because when you go into that term demon, it means what? Intelligence. So how do you destroy a man? From within. So Satan will use that woman to break down your confidence, your self-esteem, your morals, your principles, because basically she's trying to distort or tear down their foundation. Yep. Just like we go into a building and we start breaking down the foundation, what happens to the building? The building's gonna fucking fall. And that's what Satan will do to that woman when he jumps on that woman. He'll make her try to basically destroy your self-esteem.
And also too, it just goes back into no respect. She don't respect the man, nor is she respecting, what did Paul say? Loving your husband is like loving the Most High. Yeah. So she don't love the Most High, because she don't respect.
It's better to hear this now. This is really love. Love for the nation of Israel, but specifically for the women, since the Spirit jumped on the women, because in the times to come there would be no love, there would be no comfort, there would be no men risking their lives to there would be no men taking bullets for you. It's gonna be the men that's shooting the bullets during that time. So it's a time to get yourself together, get yourself right. For the time of Jacob's trouble. Because like we got into earlier, it's a time like never before. So we just surface level touching on how it's gonna be, but you haven't even got it to the point of how it's gonna be for women. And you're I think it was different videos I had seen, but it was women, and basically the point of it was they said the worst time for women is the collapse of the society, because they don't know, they fear what men can do to them. And when you don't have like the police rolling around, patrolling or answering the calls, and you have to fend for yourself, and that independent spirit start to get basically confounded, because you've been independent this whole time, unprepared for a collapse of society, and now you have to figure out how to find food, before you become food. Then it's gonna really hit home.
And it don't take much nowadays, because they can be sitting in the house and hear gunshots right outside, and then what's this? You gonna go check? No, you the man, go check.
That's why you see a lot of these women, they be comfortable laughing out on the streets of the city. But it really goes back to metropolitan. I think you break that down, goes into like mother nursing. So really, it's like the city is really for the women. But according to the prophecy within 2nd Ezra, it goes into how your city should be troubled. Right. So there's going to be a lot of trouble coming from these women that's really comfortable within the society. Hey, this is a quote right here I got from Salahuddin Ayyubi. He was like the liberator of Jerusalem. He stated this: if you want to destroy any nation without war, make adultery or nudity coming in the young generation.
That's what he saw did for the nation of Israel. And he puts it in our movies, music, and so on and so forth. All our so-called public figures push that type of lifestyle, man. And like we stated before in the spirit, how do you also destroy a nation or least the nation's servants, which is the one? Yep.
I got a pretty good bit.
All right. Hey, this is 1 Peter 3 and 6. Jump to verse 5. 1 Peter 3 and 5. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in the Most High, adorn themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
Right. They got their mind right, and they were subjected to their own man, meaning you weren't out here listening to any other man, whether it's your spiritual pastor or your spiritual leader, whatever. Your spiritual, the elect woman knows who their leader are, you know, and he's gonna be everything. He's not gonna be just the head of your household, but you turn it on Sunday and listening to another man teach you the Bible. It's not gonna be like that.
Right.
Verse 6.
No, I was gonna say, Salah.
Go ahead.
They like you say, that teaching from they preach, they'll take that narrative home and try to use it against their husband.
Yeah.
Well, the preacher said this, the preacher said that. I don't give a fuck. You my wife. I said leave that shit alone.
Just quoting the scriptures, what the scriptures say, if the woman is unmarried, who is her husband? It's your house shot. So that's what she's supposed to be following.
Right. Verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters you are, as long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement.
There you go again. It says as long. See, it comes with stipulations. It comes with standards. As long as you do well, and doing well is keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments according to as it's pertaining to a woman. Going back to she shall be saved with childbearing if she continue in faith and supports. You know, I think it said with long suffering. But it comes with stipulations on how women should behave themselves, because men have stipulations as well.
Check this out, in NLT, same verse. 1 Peter 3 and 6. For instance, Sarah obeyed her husband, Abraham, and called him master. You are her daughters when you do what is right without fear of what your husbands might do.
Right, when you do what is right, you know, and that's the stipulation. You got to do according to the standards of the Lord, you know, because people, America has set standards. Really, Esau Edom, he has set standards on how the modern woman should be. And if you live up to those standards, you're gonna be destroyed, you know, and that's what the scriptures say. But if you do according to what the Lord say, you know, you're gonna have that chance of salvation, you know, and that's what we all want, that chance of salvation.
Yeah. This book of Sirach, chapter 26, starting verse 1. Blessed is the man that had a virtuous wife. And what virtuous mean, what, like goes into like of worth, you know, beneficial, you know, something that's useful, you know. Done. For the number of his days shall be doubled. A virtuous woman, you just break down. A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace.
That goes into a woman that's actually obeying her husband, you know. It's a different type of spirit when you have, which, you know, the brother get that too. I think it's about where we're going to a man and a woman that agree together. Like it's, could you read that again?
Sirach chapter 26, verse 2. A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace.
Right, he should fulfill the years of his life in peace, because you have a woman, when you have a relationship between a man and a woman that's functioning properly, where the man is able to do his role, keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Lord, you know, serve the Lord, and his woman is his support system, which is how the Lord created it. It's a beautiful thing, you know. It was a quote that said, you know, two people that, you know, like a handsome man and a beautiful woman, they make a beautiful wedding. But a good-spirited man, a good-spirited woman, they make a beautiful marriage, you know. And that's how the Lord initially created it to be, for man and woman to play their roles and do it according to His standards. And that's how a society is built, you know. That's how families are built. That's how legacies are built. That's why Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is a legacy.
And when a man can come home after a hard day's work, or, you know, just dealing with the world, man, to come home to a peaceful home where his woman, you know, have things prepared for him, might have drawn his bath water, you know what I'm saying? You got just things laid out for him, man. You know, that gives a man a type of building up, man, and more stamina to be able to prepare to go out and fight the world the next day, man. You know what I'm saying? Confidence. You know, that's what shit. That's what we need, especially coming up in this world, man. But when you have to leave out of the world after fighting and battling all day to go to a home where you are paying the bill that should be your place of comfort, your place of rest, and have to battle some more. The first scripture said that when a man has a virtuous woman, you know, his days can be double. But the stress that people, or especially women, would put on a man, it would shorten his life. You know?
When you go to the term virtue, it goes into moral life and conduct, moral excellence.
Moral excellence. That's all the standards of the Lord. He requires of us to be morally excellent because we are morally and spiritually superior to all these other nations. That's why the scriptures say the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor. And excellent, you know, us being excellent going to spiritually, morally, you know, the way our customs, our heritage, all of that is morally excellent. You know, it's excellent. But the way of the wicked seduceth them. So our standards have been reduced because of the influence of Esau Edom.
Well, if I can attest to that, I can see the breakdown of that happening from my youth up to now. Because when I was coming up, the women of the household, when grandpa got home, dad got home, dinner was cooked, they ate first, you know, they talked to them, you know, and, you know, things was in order. But now as time progressed, you know, the older women were supposed to teach the younger women how to live today, but that somewhere that broke down in the process, and now, you know, you got mamas and daughters and grandmamas out in the club at the same time. You know, so
because even when I was in school, high school, like, whoa, you to have a family that was divorced, that was unheard of.
right.
You know, if your father wasn't there at that parent and teacher meeting, it was because he was a truck driver, he worked offshore, he was working late.
Right.
It wasn't because, well, they're in the midst of getting a divorce. And even when our grandfather died, my grandmother would still serve everybody first, and she would be the last one to eat.
Right.
And that was like years and years after she had died.
If the man is bringing home, you know what I'm saying, the things that cause the house to be able to function, to provide for the family, you know, why would he eat first? You know, yeah, the kids gotta eat, but them kids ain't working. They're not providing anything, they're consuming, man. You know, if Pops miss meals and ain't got enough energy to get out there and work, who the hell gonna bring home the finances? You know? It's the order of things, man. You know, and that gives a reference, a woman that's giving reference to her husband is showing that he is of an importance. You know, that he is, you know what I'm saying, the head of the house.
And even within the lion world, who eat first? The lion does, the male lion.
And what the lioness do? They get out there and hunt. That's like going in the kitchen cooking. You know, and then they what? Serve it up.
But the male lion, he's standing on ground watching out for the predators around him.
He's the protector. He's the protector.
So they got enough sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be in that type of mindset, man.
And that's why we say the animal kingdom is in order. That's why they don't have to be judged when they die. And then one of my new favorite scenes, bro, of Godfather 2 is when they go back into the life of the Godfather, being played by Robert De Niro. So anyway, he had got fired, and his boss treated him like a son, so he was trying to give him food, and he was like, no, I can't take it. So as he was walking out, his boss stopped him again, and he was like, no, I can't take it. And he came through the door, had a smirk on his face, and you would, the way he walked through that door, you would assume that he had about 100,000 in his pocket. He didn't have nothing, but the self-esteem was there. He walked in there, took his coat off, he hung the coat up, he gave his wife a pear. That's all they had. She looked at the pear, she said, what a lovely pear. And then she walked in, went into the kitchen, he sat down, she served it up, and then he kissed on the cheek. Now you bring a goddamn pear this day and time for your wife. He gonna get on social media.
But like you had said too, if the man get injured or he's unable to work, you know, the family function fails, you know, because the woman she's not going to be in a, especially her kids, she's not going to be in a position. Most households is not a position where the woman can sustain and take care of everyone without any other forms of income coming in. So when that man is unable to work, you know, the whole family, it affects the whole, it trickles down, you know. Now the woman, she has a lot of pressure on her, you know, that's going to affect the kids. The kids are going to pick up on this pressure and they're going to take it to them. You know, this energy, they're going to take it to them, you know, if they're going to school or whatever. You know, it's going to affect the whole family function. So going back to referencing that man, you know, they don't realize just how small a detail, or they don't realize how big or grand them not doing their role affects the family. And that goes back to the curses that you read too. Her eyes should be evil towards her husband, because she don't realize how much it really affects the family when you're not in order. You know, even seeing society how it is, they still don't realize how bad them not being in their order is affecting society.
Verse 3, a good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord. Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart towards the Lord, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance.
Right, he have a good mind, you know, good mindset towards Yahweh shot. No matter what it is that he's going through, what he got in this life and society, you know. Because ultimately the Lord, it's like the scriptures say, it's easy to make a poor man rich, you know. It's an easy thing for the Lord to bless you and put you in a position of success, you know. But that your mindset has to be right, you know. And it's the same thing for a woman. That's why I said a godly woman should be given basically to a righteous man, you know. And that's the Lord gonna be playing matchmaking in the times to come for Jacob's trouble. You know, all the right sisters, you know, the woman that the Lord wants to be saved, the Lord gonna be matchmaking them with the men that He's gonna save, you know. Because again, legacies has to be built, you know, and that starts with a family structure. And we talking about going into the kingdom. We talking about legacies being established in the kingdom of heaven, whereas they was delivered and salvation came from the side where, you know, our enemies was ruling over.
Hey, and myself, Elder Abaya and Elder Squat, we have a mutual friend somewhat in the world who used to say he was gonna come to the council and everything, you know, and over time he met this particular woman and you could see the countenance on his face completely changed, man. This woman started spiritually destroying this man till he got to the point he pretty much lost everything, man. The best thing happened to him that she actually left him. Okay, but that was a horrible portion, man, that this man was served up. So sometimes these women, the Lord gonna put on a man to destroy him, man. Especially if he, you know what I'm saying, acting or pretending that he followed the way of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, in some cases, it's a test to see if a man will break with that woman and start following her versus continuing on in the truth, man. You know, the way the Lord do things is amazing and it's scary and it's fearful. But you have to be spiritually rooted in this truth to really have discernment to understand and depend on Yahweh Shem Yahushua to give you guidance on which way to go, man. Because brothers are speaking on how when a woman is particularly doing you just horribly wrong, man, it comes to a point you're gonna have to separate from that woman, man. But if you're not spiritually rooted or have understanding, you're gonna sit there and continue to try to deal with that shit and you're gonna eventually be destroyed or fall out the truth or whatever the case may be, man. That's why you have to continually pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, stay rooted in this truth, man, and pray for the Lord to give you guidance, man. Because we're living in an evil world, evil times, man. And Satan is out to destroy, man. Especially when it comes to Israelites, man. Whether it's men in the truth or just people out in the world, man. But we know his primary target are the men of the Lord. But the point is, man, we have to depend on Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man.
This is Ecclesiastes 7:24. That which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it out? Referring to the Most High's wisdom. Verse 25. I apply my heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose mind is snares and nets, and her hands is bands. Whoso please the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her.
sinner shall be taken back. Whoso pleases the Most High shall be delivered, shall escape from her. You know, we've all dealt with different women. Of course, we've dealt with women in your you know, in this lifetime, this current lifetime. But we've all have been built up, you know, through trials and tribulations. As the scripture says, if you come to serve the Lord, prepare our soul for temptations. One of those temptations the Lord's going to use is a woman. You know, because that's a thing that every man has, is a desire for a woman, especially in this society where they have been taught to, you know, it's been pushed to obey your thirst, obey your flesh, you know.
And all the Greeks that went down. Adam, Samson, Solomon, you know, downfall was that one.
Even since we've been in the truth, you heard about like different men came in, like they was given an ultimatum, the Most High and me, and your family. Yeah. A lot of times different men, they chose that woman. When the Lord's so cold with it, he'll break up the relationship with the woman. She'll give her another man, and hear you out without the truth.
That's right. You can't get back in. It's not even appealing. I had a woman that I met actually at camp, and that bitch stood there and told me some months later that I tried to get you off your purpose. But that was Satan talking to me through her, man. So yeah, this is spiritual, man. And when you sacrifice something in front of Yahweh Shalom Shah, you get plenty. When you don't want to sacrifice that, when you don't want to make that sacrifice, what you need to make that sacrifice, the Most High is going to become that sacrifice. You know, just a little more, bro. Back into Ecclesiastes 7:27. Behold, this have I found, said the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seek, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found.
Right. Like you said, with the mind to continue to just be righteous and serve the Lord, you know. Have he not found? And we see that in full effect in this society, you know. And this was him saying it back in the ancient world. So imagine how well we see now. We ain't gotta imagine. We see just how worse it has gotten.
I think that was like 3,000 years ago. 3,000.
This is back in Sirach chapter 26. Sirach chapter 26 verse 25. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord.
Right. There's a lot of women out here that are shameless, you know, and they show their shame in their behavior, in their conduct, like, in their behavior, their conduct, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves, you know, the way they treat their children, you know, the way they treat their man, you know, all of that is shameless. But a righteous woman is gonna fear the Lord.
Like the elder bringing out earlier, man, about the girls' night. You know, these women, they go out, man. That's the behavior of being shameless dogs, man, because they go out and just behave and act any kind of way. And if you ever, you know, just been in the country or whatever, see these dogs, man, this female dog, it'll be like 4 or 5 male dogs right there in public, anywhere, Main Street, in front of anybody, and that female dog will sit there and let all those dogs have their turn, man, with no regard. You know, so that's that mindset of women, man. They'll go out and behave any kind of way, even if they have a husband or boyfriend at home, and don't even give a damn, man. You know, dancing, twerking, short ass dresses, coming all riding up and everything. That's a shameless woman, man. A woman's supposed to be covered up from head to toe, man. She shouldn't be exploiting and showing her merchandise, if you will. You know, single or with a man, if she got a husband, man, because that's private property, whether it's belong to a man right then or for the future, man. A woman shouldn't be doing that, man.
And what's the example you said about the dog?
How dogs, you know, a female dog to sit up and let multiple dogs run to her in front of any and anybody, man. They don't take cover or nothing.
Ecclesiastes 26:12. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he have found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow.
And think about them women at the club. Any joker about her drink, she bouncing around trying to get free drinks, talking, laughing all up in their face and everything. And when before the night is over with, she busted wide open, man. Running through. Probably a couple of cats, man. Who knows? But her thing is, man, she's just a shameless, just a whore, man. And this is promoted in Babylon, man. This is promoted amongst basically Israel, man. Who's out there pushing this shit more than Israel amongst their own people, man? You got this weirdo chick, what's her name? Red Sexy. This weirdo looking chick, man.
Some industry clip.
Yeah, this other chick named Samurai. Well, man, she look, I don't know, man. They got like straight weirdos, but the Israelite woman, man, just they are mesmerized by these degenerates, man. And they think this is acceptable, man. They think this is cool, this is cute, but this is gonna bring forth judgment, man, for being wicked.
They're Jewish ghosts, bro.
That's
because
it.
even Suki Hana came out with a video 2 years ago talking about how she was crying, she sold her soul.
Yeah.
She sold her soul, and then she had a halfway look of innocence.
She looked normal.
She looked normal almost. Now you fast forward in today's time frame. Now you see what she meant when she said, "I sold my soul." She's done. And then with selling your soul, it comes what? The destruction of your nation. You're doing the bidding of Esau.
Now you're being held as a standard for younger Israelite women now. You know how we be seeing them videos, like the different street videos, interviews, on podcasts. Like a lot of these women talking about, like they boast about their body counts.
Yeah.
And in most cases, a lot of them they be forgetful with their body count. That's crazy. And what J. Cole said, when they say a number, you got to multiply by 2.
Yeah. If not more, 3.
By 3.
Yeah.
Maybe 7.
Then we said the song multiply by 3.
Multiply by 3. That's right.
And then these women, going back to how they dress, you know, especially the ones that's married, the first thing they say is, well, I'm trying to look good for you. When you go out and you try to take them out of club, you know, you just try to take a woman out of something. She got the mindset that she want to look good for you, but then you got other niggas looking at you. You know, they ain't looking at me. They looking at you.
Right.
So, you know, these women, they got that mindset where I gotta dress up and look good, and a lot of men, they simp out for that, you know. Because like you said, those type of women like Sukioni and Sexy Red, you know, and others, those are the standards for the women nowadays. That's also the standard for the men nowadays too. That's the type of woman you want, you know.
But why you don't have that type of standard in country music and classical music?
Right.
Anything that's affecting these other nations and things of that nature, why don't we have the same standard, you know, such as the Sexy Reds, the Lil Kims, the Nicki Minaj, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and Charlamagne, one thing his bitch ass did something right. He asked New York, well, why do you put out the type of music you put out?
Yeah.
And he just got quiet.
He started stuttering.
Yeah, he started stuttering. You know, because at the end of the day, it's a fucking agenda to destroy our people by basically making them go off in the spirit. Hey, we always say this, although Esau is a carnal man, he has a spiritual game plan to take down the spiritual people, man. And that's breaking the laws, statutes, and the commandments in the form of commercial, in the form of music, movies, so on and so forth.
It's an extension to this war.
That's
spiritual
it.
warfare.
That's it, bro.
The rest of these nations that follow suit, just drawn to it, they just collateral damage.
Yeah.
You know, he's sacrificing his people to try to destroy Israel, man.
And so what they do, they come and lick Lazarus' wounds by basically opening up weed shops within the community. But that same weed that this bitch done cut off over there in the east, she done sacrificed her hair to another god.
Right.
Now you put on a different spirit, attaching the spirit to you, when you already got about 10,000 spirits on you.
Romans 6:23. For the wages of sin is death.
And the wages of sin is death. Meaning, what if you sin, what's the payback? What's the payout? What's the return? What's the investment? It's death. It's death. And Esau knows this because Esau knows who you are. And that's the reason why Esau pushes the agenda of music to have you going off.
Everything that's in transgression to it, you know, Yahweh Bashi Mashai, he uplifts it and promotes it within society, man. So whenever this devil do something, you're supposed to in the spirit go the opposite route. Right. You know? So it said, for the wages of sin is death, but the gift of the Heavenly Father Yahweh is eternal life through Yahweh Shai.
And that's going through that straight gate by ignoring this nonsense in the spirit. So there's nothing wrong with using the word, you just don't abuse it. When you abuse anything, you become a fucking addict. And when you become an addict, that means what? You have habits that are hard to break.
You gotta put you do this. This is book Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. And if I can say, there are many, the sword come in many shapes, form, and fashions, man. And one of the swords that this devil used is his promotion of wicked music, you know, adultery, idolatry, all that, man, by use of Israel, man.
And this nigga really has weaponized music.
Weaponized music, bro.
You can't even go to sleep with that shit on. You'll wake up with demons on you. And I found that shit out in the 12th grade. I used to listen to Tupac before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Be mad at the goddamn world, man.
What was that video I sent you, bro, where a dude was saying, you know, how, you know, some of the music beats sound good, but he like, you know, we be at the club really dancing and grooving to murder music,
He said,
man.
that psychopath music.
Psychopathic music, man.
Is,
Man, that's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Can I get something for your house?
Go ahead, bro. You go.
Hey, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 7. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that has hold of her is as though he held a scorpion. And back into Ecclesiastes 26 and verse 7. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. When you have a yoke shaken to and fro, is unstable.
Yeah.
Right? A supporting woman is supposed to be stable. She's supposed to bring stability to you. A pillar. A pillar is a support that holds the building up. Right? He that has hold of her is as though he held a scorpion. And what is a scorpion known for? It's poison.
Come out of holding one.
It's poison. You grab that motherfucker by his tail, it's gonna bite you, man. It's gonna it's gonna sting you. Right?
That goes back into what y'all was saying earlier about Tyrese and his wife, how she, you know, she stung you. You know?
Hey, you should have seen that nigga, man. He was like, man, I'm sitting here, I don't even know why I'm getting a divorce. He said, I never hit her. It was no cheating allegations. I've done this, I've done that. But meanwhile, I'm in the midst of a divorce and I don't even know why.
Nigga, you was a plan from the dope.
That's it.
She seen that you was a sucker for love, man. And she took advantage.
And she said, okay, my soul, I come.
And that's basically what all of the athletes and musicians, you know, they have women flocking for them because they want to get part of that bag.
That's it.
You know, and none of them, I would say some of them may do it truly for love, but 90% of them is they after a bag.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. All you gotta do is ask about a prenup. That's gonna tell you right then. Cause if she wanna be with you, she ain't gonna think about no deal. Nah, you know, she'll be like, you know, I don't need no prenup. I know you see it outside, it ain't no big deal. But if she arguing the fact like, if you don't trust me, why you? Nope. No. Why? I mean, you proved your point that you got an agenda if shit don't work.
They made a game in society out of embarrassing the Israelite man. You know, because all you hear about is, you know, you see videos women do about how she did a man or how she got this, or you might see the opposite. You might see the man making a video about the woman what she did to him, and then you might see other videos about, you know, how she lived. You know, they done made it a game in society of really bashing the Israelite man, which is a part of the curse.
That's it. That's it. And y'all seen that video? It went viral. And they showing like a J couple, and they've been married for like 30 days. So the wife found out that she wasn't added as a beneficiary to the health insurance. So man, she just started snapping at the dude. You know, just caring about crime and stuff like that because he got his mother on that, and he didn't put her on that. So he already trying to like, man, we might as well just disannul this marriage. Now, if you acting like that right now, how much more you gonna be acting in the future?
Right.
That was just within 30 days of the marriage. Hey, so I got one for Tyrese for you. And this is Isaiah 28 and 15.
What about sweet lady used to say before?
Good now.
So these really the consequences of him selling out. So it says right here, Isaiah 28:15, because you have said we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement.
Hey, Esau is death. Esau brings that hell. Remember, hell is a condition that's played out on earth. So what Israel does is Israel tries to avoid, run, or outperform the curses by selling out. But guess what? Those curses are still attached to you. That's the reason why Jake don't have mirrors in their household, because they can't stand to look at themselves. That's the reason why Jake puts tattoos on themselves, because they have been getting plowed down by another man. So they put these tattoos covering their body or flesh and tattoos because they're trying to regain that manliness. But it's over.
Jake be trying to do a Euro step over the curses. At the end of the day, according to Lamentation, it says we are all under that dark cloud.
That's it.
You know, so you can't hide, you can't run, no matter how you look, no matter where you are scattered to. If your line go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're going to feel those curses at the end of the day.
Look, even Jesus get a divorce.
Yeah.
And he's married to a so-called Moabite.
Yeah, but she's Americanized. Though.
She's Americanized.
And then, like you said, Jake try to escape the curses, so they run and sell out. But Esau, Edom was responsible for bringing a lot of those curses back. A lot of curses that we have, or a lot of curses that's on, ultimately Yahweh shot. But the Lord used Esau to bring those curses, and he's still in power to this day. So he's still enforcing those curses upon you, until this man is taken out of power. So it's like you running right to the source of the curses,
That's right. In reality hits you, you see more and more, dang, I was better when I was so-called broke.
Right.
Like J. Cole said he was better, he wish he could go back to Jermaine. So he's telling you that he wish he didn't sell out to the so-called powers that be.
Yeah. Why is that everybody sells out and wish they could go back to day one? Something is not right.
Everything that glitter ain't gold.
Bow he just wrote his like so-called Twitter that he wish he could have it like us, like people like so-called normal people. He just stated that this week, like a prom. You know what I'm saying? Just I forgot the other thing he stated. He said he just want to be normal, man.
He said that a couple of years ago too. He made a video. Saying he wish he could have had a normal prom and could have just went to school like everybody else instead of the life that he did.
Like he just want to walk on Murder Street.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He probably do it now. He ain't gonna fight.
Like back in Isaiah 28:15, because you have said we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we in agreement.
Right. So you're down with when Esau tells you this is what you got to rap about. This is the role you have to play. You're down with that covenant. You're down with that agreement. Go ahead.
According to our law, we are supposed to make a covenant with other nations.
Exactly.
But you gotta look at it. We are likened to a woman to the Heavenly Father. So by us making a covenant or a so-called agreement with another nation, we're cheating on him.
You're married to Esau.
That's right.
You're joined to Esau. Marriage means join. What joins you to Esau in that case? That covenant. That covenant.
And with hell are we in agreement.
Right.
When the overflowing scourge should pass through, it should not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves.
And you're going to be judged because of these lies and this falsehood, man. You have to go down for selling out. And you're misleading our nation, man. You have a lot of blood on your hands.
When it goes into Proverbs, no hands on their hands.
Yeah.
And the wicked should not be oppressed.
Get that.
This is Mark 8 chapter, starting in verse 36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?
Your son, your wife, your manhood, your mother, your daughter, your integrity. This is what Jake gives up in order to receive the so-called pleasures of this world. But meanwhile, in the process, you lose your spirit.
And your money.
And your money. You done sacrifice your father, you done sacrifice your mother, you done gave up your manhood, your child, friends and so on and so forth just to have this piece of money, but now you're fucking miserable forever.
And that's beautiful through the spirit to the hopeful elect, because the Lord is showing us through the spirit. You see Jake so-called got all the so-called riches, the notoriety within this world, but these dudes are horrible. They looking miserable.
Yeah.
They got to succumb to drugs just because they want to stay afloat within
Go to
society.
sleep or go to sleep.
Yeah. So the Lord showing us right here through the spirit, hey, this is not the way.
That's it.
Just hold on to me.
That's it.
Like that nigga Lil Wayne, man. Lil Wayne, man, one of the coldest supposed to ever come through. Got plenty of money, go anywhere he want to. Look, man, that shit has destroyed that man. That man look like a little roach, man. Man, that boy look horrible, man. Like that motherfucker hanging on for dear life, man. Man, he look bad, man.
Most size kids look at that nigga, man.
Man, don't see how anybody look. I can't understand see that nigga come across the street. You know, his face drawed up, you know. I mean, you look at Lil Wayne like, what, about 10 years ago? Man, he looked healthy and shit.
He did.
You know, skin looked normal, face looked normal. Now he look like he's like a fucking AIDS or cancer patient, or both of them. He looked horrible, man, but that is the non-profitable benefits that he received by doing this, man. By being in that goddamn covenant with Esau. It is slowly destroying him. And he know it, man, but he's trying to push on and whatever, but he's smoking more than anybody, drinking more lean. He's in a bad case, man. But like the brother was saying, man, that a lot of these guys wish they never took that covenant, man. They wish they could live what they call a normal life, man. You know, but that the scripture going to, what does it profit?
And that shows you how these modern women are. They'll still run to something like that, like Lil Wayne,
That's
and
it.
lay down with him.
Yeah,
That's
You
it.
know?
yeah.
That's it.
Verse 38, whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my word in the adulterous and sinful generation.
And how you show that you're ashamed of Yahweh Hashem are not cleaving to him.
Right.
Running from this word, especially if you know that this is the truth and you're still willing to sell out for a small piece of money,
Yeah.
which ain't even money.
Right.
And everybody that goes through those doors show you that they're not happy, but you still got idiots going to their concerts, paying for their streaming and things of that nature. Like, the people are stupid. And I see why Esau feels that basically it's time to take over. Because like an old quote that came from the nobility of Edom, it was said that anytime that they can't make their own decisions, then we must lead them. These people need to be led, man.
Yeah. Of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed, we cometh in the glory of his Father.
So you're not going to receive salvation. You are not going to receive salvation. Go ahead, bro.
With the holy angels.
Yep, and that's coming. Let's talk about the judgment day of Yahweh Hashem Shah, the second coming of Yahweh Shah.
Because your consolation has been received.
Yeah, that's your gift. Your gift is that bullshit ass house that you bought 10 years ago for $5.6 million, and now the foundation is shifted.
Yeah, you're still paying property
You're
taxes.
still paying property taxes. You know, you got a car that has, you know, what, $10,000 worth of monthly maintenance and things of that nature. Who wants a lifestyle like that?
And your name and your reputation can still get slandered.
That's it.
In the kingdom of heaven, we won't have to worry about any more slander right next to it.
Wow.
And not comparing these niggas to, you know, King David or Solomon, but the point is, King David and Solomon was rich, okay, and they helped out the nation of Israel and people. Yeah, it's like
Rich.
yeah, wealthy. Yeah, these cats are
They had
so-called rich.
generational wealth.
Yeah, but with that said, they can't help their people, man. Esau has drawn the line on where they can do with their money, man. Have put a count on what they can spend, where they can spend it, and all that, man. So these niggas can't even help their own people, man.
That's it.
You know, but when in the kingdom of heaven, man, hey, all of Israel gonna be good, man. That's why this shit right here is not, it's nothing, man. It's temporal.
Carmelo Anthony, he had like a documentary he did a couple years ago or so. He pretty much stated the same thing, like he wanted to help his people when he found out he was going to the league.
Yeah.
But when I guess when he signed up with the so-called powers that be, he was reading between the lines, he would tell you that he couldn't do anything
Right.
no more.
Right.
That's what that accountant is for. That's the reason why they make you have an accountant. Your accountant is another form of a hammer,
Yep.
right? And then you go into, we talk about generational wealth. That means what? Race happiness, right? Generational wealth means the race is happy. Look what King David did for King Solomon and how it trickled down to the entire kingdom.
Exactly.
Now everybody was on during the time frame of King David and King Solomon.
Queen Sheba, when she came around.
Yeah, she was in awe.
Yeah, when she saw just the doorman,
Yeah.
the porter.
She thought he was the king.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Look what a guy. Go ahead, bro.
And this 1 Timothy 6:17, charge them that are rich in this world.
Yeah, you Jay-Z's, you Puff Daddies, you Fabulous, you Jada Kiss, you LeBron James, you Michael Jordan. Hell, I'm looking at Michael Jordan that damn. Hell, he couldn't even go down some steps, man. That body breaking down. Go ahead, bro. But he sacrificed his father.
Yeah.
You sacrifice your father for the shoe. Now shoot.
that they be not high-minded,
Right.
nor trust in uncertain riches.
Right, yeah, and that's what the brother was saying. Uncertain riches, meaning that I can have 20 million in my account, but Esau can wipe that slate clean whenever he wants to. Who was that black youngster some years ago? He tried to withdraw 100K from the bank and they told him no. Soldier Boy, as of last year, tried to go into the bank and withdraw some money. They told him no.
No.
But it's supposed to be your money.
I think they told him he could get like 5,000 or something.
Yeah, he can only get 5,000. But that's your so-called money.
Right.
But I don't have access whenever I want to. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Check your banking accounts if you're with Reeds about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You can have 20,000 in the bank, but at that period of time, it'll be 0.00.
They shuffling money.
Then it'll be back in the morning.
I saw that.
You see, am I lying? I'm telling you.
Crazy. I got one.
Go ahead, bro.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, starting at verse 2. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity.
Yeah,
What?
everything is vanity, man. That's what King Solomon said. He had the world in the palm of his hand, but he came to the realization of the spirit of Yahweh Shemashah that everything is vanity.
Yeah.
Now remember, in order for King Solomon to get on that level on the left-hand side, he had to make rituals and sacrifices to get that awareness.
Yeah.
So he's seen it all. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 3. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't have eternal life. You can have $60 million, but if the Most High calls you home, then you got to leave that inheritance to somebody else. And that's what Shannon Strong was telling Chad Ocho Cinco, I think today or yesterday. He was basically saying that, look, I treat myself sometimes because when I'm gone, who am I going to leave this money to? Now, according to what Esau does is, Will Smith can't leave that inheritance to his kids.
I was gonna say,
LeBron James can't do that. That's why LeBron was trying to put his son on. Because that inheritance he has, he cannot leave that to Bronny and the other kids.
Think about all these past actors who have come and gone, man. You really don't hear about their family benefiting or profiting off of their legacy or whatever, man. You don't really hear that, man.
And guess what he started doing now to these niggas? He's making these niggas sell their publishers. Future, Lil Wayne, Justin Timberlake, he's giving them that ultimatum.
But they gonna have, like they said, the ultimatum like they gave Michael Jackson and Prince. Sell or die, goddamn. It ain't nothing between. But the scripture clearly states, man, surely we come into this world with nothing, and surely we shall die with nothing.
And that's the point. That's the point. Just like Puffy. Puffy's giving niggas back. That's so-called publishing. But at the end of the day, that's kind of that's like you give me your car brand new. I drive around for 10 years and I bring it back with 20-some thousand miles on it. It ain't worth nothing. That fucking publishing is not worth nothing now. That's the reason why he's giving it back. And I want to say it takes 1 million streams for you to see $100-some. So who the fuck is gonna listen to what's his name? Mark Curry.
Man, who was Mark Curry? I thought he was a comedian.
No, he was Ralph too.
Yeah, Mr. Cooper, man. That's what it was.
Luke 6 and 24. But woe unto you that are rich,
And destruction to you that are rich. Go ahead.
for ye have received your consolation.
You receive your gift. The cars, these worthless ass women, right? You're able to do whatever you want to because you're on a longer leash compared to us, but we have the most freedom in the spirit of Yahweh Shemashah. Go ahead, bro.
Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger.
Yeah, because your time is coming. Remember, at the end of Geronimo, when that Gadite looked at Geronimo and he said basically it wasn't worth it. He basically said it wasn't worth it. Jay-Z and all you niggas are sold out. You're not going to the top. As soon as this shit crashes, you're going to be just like us.
Yep.
And we're going to have stability and knowledge. And you're going to have that hard knock life. B!
Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep.
Right. And what he say in one of them songs, half of y'all won't make it. Nigga, you ain't gonna make it. You within that concept of half that's not going to make it.
Now you think the nobility and Edom will have you in that best interest?
Right.
You're a nigga just like the rest of us.
Exactly.
That's how they look at it.
That's it. And they go by bloodline.
Stop with that damn
They
Jesus,
Jesus,
man.
still a nigga.
And that nigga laughed at the beginning that one of his son, ha ha. But the brother talked the brother out, you know, he who laughed now will weep later. That nigga gonna be through, man.
And this Matthew.
Hey, yo,
what's
yeah,
like
no
this?
more, no more.
It says, woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you,
Yeah.
but so did their fathers to the false prophets.
Yeah, like Nate. You know, his congregation speaks well too regarding him, but at the same time frame, he's not telling you true prophecy. Like everybody knows with common sense that has spiritual awareness that the mark is what the mark is, according to the Quran. Right? Something that will be implanted within you so you're able to function within the system to come.
This Matthew 20:16. So the last should be first, and the first last. For many be called, but few chosen.
Right, and that's regarding this truth. That's the concept of this truth. Because look, you were like what, back in the 90s and things of that nature, you had a lot of individuals that came into the truth. But look at the truth rate awakening in 2007. So a lot of those individuals that was in the 80s and 90s, they got weeded out because of their 2000 prophecy. But it was for prophecy's sake. So really the true men of Yahweh Hashem Shai may be these individuals that you're looking at now. And I'm beginning with the apostles of the great millstone.
Like the so-called sellouts of our people right now, they first within this society. So when the new kingdom transition goes into the kingdom of Yahweh Shai, they're going to be on the bottom. They still going to be good because they're Israelites, but at the same time, they're not going to have that type of ranking like the ones who stood still before Yahweh Shai on this side.
And we're not going to be that accessible in the kingdom of heaven. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they show you that in today's society. You can't just hang out with LeBron and Michael. So, hey, basically, yeah, of course our families, but all Israel is not going to be able to be hands-on with us. It's, hey, you know, hey, some of us, like dealing with the 144,000 may have chariots, and then the rest of the elect, but they're outside of the 144,000, they may not have chariots.
Like they showed on Black Panther, the movie.
Oh,
You had the upper echelon of those people,
Yeah.
and you had like a division of the so-called working class people.
Right.
You know, not saying our people will be working the kingdom, there's going to be a separation though.
Yeah.
I just want to speak too. And it's just like during the time when Yahweh Shai was there, you know, he wasn't putting his disciples as the leaders of the nation of Israel, but what he was doing was building the kingdom of heaven. And with him building, especially when Yahweh Shai went back, they became the leaders of the kingdom that was being built. You know, because they were the 12 apostles who came, 12 disciples who later became apostles. They became the leaders. And that's why Yahweh Shai told them, he told Peter, you know, he told them that when I come back, you know, you're gonna be the on sitting on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Basically, we're saying when I come back and I set everything in order, you're gonna be the first, and everyone that was in this position now, they're gonna be the last. This is Matthew 19, verses starting at 27. And then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What should we have therefore?
And the Greek that forsaken goes into abandon. So meaning we have abandoned everything for this truth. Now that doesn't mean that you can't actually have a life, but when it comes to this truth, the truth is primary. Go ahead, bro.
And how much I said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which shall follow me in the regeneration.
The regeneration is identifying what? The kingdom of heaven. That's the regeneration. The kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
When the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, he also shall sit upon 12 thrones,
You're going to be a king too. Go ahead.
judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right.
And like bringing that point back out again, because you had two different worlds coexisting. You had the world which of Yahweh Shai was the kingdom of heaven being built, and that's why they had followers, because this was the elect waking up at that time period. But you also had the world that was following after the ancient Roman Empire, you know, of our people that was still caught up, you know. So it's you still had the first and the last, but you have, you know, just like now, you got the kingdom of heaven being built up again, and the leaders who now they gonna be the first, and all this behind in Esau's modern day Roman Empire, they gonna be last.
That's Revelation 21 and 14. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb.
Of the 12 apostles. So they're going into the leaders, the leadership of it, because like the brother was going into, it's going to be a ranking system in the kingdom of heaven. And just like we can't go to Jay-Z and you can't Kanye, you can't even email them and get a hope for something back. It's gonna be like that in the kingdom of heaven. The leaders won't just be easily accessible. Because it's a whole order. It's going to be established that these were the men that stood. That's what Ezra saw. These were the men that stood so stiffly for the name of Yahweh, Yahushua, and his testimony. So they're going to have a great reward.
This is Romans 8:16. The Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the sons of the Most High. And if sons, then heirs, heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Mashiach. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may also glorify together.
Right, because Yahweh is putting Yahushua, he has put Yahushua on a certain level that no other man will ever reach. And like it said, with joint heirs, Yahushua is going to do the same thing. He's going to put his men on a certain level that the rest of the nation won't just be able to easily access, easily reach. It's going to be like when a celebrity come in town, you got everybody, he got his security and everything, keeping everybody at bay. So you see him, you acknowledge him, but you can't just go up to him without really his permission. And it's gonna be the same way. You can't just easily go to the 144,000 because that's a reward. That's right. And the Lord is gonna make sure it's established that way that these men are my top men.
Yeah, quick. This 1 Corinthians chapter 7, starting at verse 29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth, that both they that have wives be as though they had none, and they that weep as though they weep not.
Yeah, and that's literally, but at the same time frame, when you have a wife, there's nothing wrong with that as long as she's not in ignorance to the truth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because in certain forms of fashion, your woman can't be a blessing if she's acting right. Go ahead, bro.
And they that rejoice as they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not.
Because everything is temporary, like Yahweh just said. Because at the end of the day, we're coming into Jacob's trouble, and we're going to be more than likely pilgrims. I think what's that definition pilgrims goes into? One that's traveling
like to a holy place.
To a holy place. To a holy place. So the holy place is Jerusalem. So we're going to be moving to and fro, being navigated with we're going to be navigated by the Holy Spirit. But at the same time frame, we have to look at everything in just in a temporary format. And you have a mindset such as this, when you start being affected by these things, it doesn't run as bad. Because you see it coming.
Verse 31. And they that use the word as not abuse it.
That's what we do. We use the word. So if you can get a promotion, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. But you don't let that same promotion stop you from doing your daily video or not making it to camera. Go ahead.
For the fashion of this world passeth away.
Hey, the fashion of this world passed away. Talk about what the image of this world, which is what? Going into the pagan Roman Empire. So when America looks in the mirror, it sees what? The pagan Roman Empire. Right. And this same fucking image is about to pass away.
Scripture goes into your treasury, your heart will be also. And like going into we talking about Jay-Z, all these people with all these earthly possessions, man. When Jacob trouble truly hit, when this economy collapsed, when this dollar crashed, those people are gonna be the first ones lining up to get that Caragua, man, so they can get some kind of sense of normalcy, man, and feeling, like society is kind of still functioning as a norm, man, because they have such a tie into this society, man. They love this life, they love the fashions of this world, man, and they not really processing that this shit is temporal, it's vanity, and it's gonna pass away, man. That's why it's gonna be so simple for Esau to start getting a lot of Israelites to line up, man, to take that, man. And that's gonna be that road to destruction, man. Because the prophets are, and we always sound like a broken record going into it, man, but the Lord has sent forth his prophets to blow the horn, man, to sound the trumpet and warn the people, man. But our people don't want to take heed to the message of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because see, that thought that it's a message from the men they seeing out on the highways and byways. We're just chanting, ranting, and talking, man. But see, we come in the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. These are the words of the Lord, man. So we're telling you that these earthly things are not gonna last, man. You know, you want to lean and towards Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and store your riches in heaven, man. We speak on how this is supposed. You should be making a spiritual investment, man, towards the heaven, man, under Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, because that's gonna give you eternal life, man. That's gonna be those treasures that are gonna be forever. That generational wealth, man, that you're really gonna be able to pass down from generation to generation to generation for all eternity, man. But this right here, loving this world, not acknowledging that this world is gonna be done with, you're in a situation that you're not gonna be returning from, man, because you're gonna be in that 2/3 line of judgment, man.
This Ecclesiasticus 35:6. The offering of the righteous maketh the altar fat, and the sweet savor thereof is before the Most High.
What's the offering of the righteous?
Making a positive sacrifice.
Romans 12:1, right? Because hey, in this thing of ours, every entity had to make a sacrifice. Yahweh sacrificed his only begotten son. Yahweh Shai had to sacrifice himself. And in return, if we the men of Yahweh Shai, we have to sacrifice ourselves. So we all had to make that sacrifice.
Jordan here is so be that we suffer with him.
Yeah.
You gotta suffer. Going into, patience going into suffering, but also going into bearing your cross.
That's it.
Because you have to bear your indignation, whatever it is, your allotted lot for you to go through. That's a part of suffering for your Yahweh Shai.
Now listen, that's spiritual, because it's like on that road to Yahweh Shai. Because he had to go through the ancient Roman Empire. And here we are, Lord willing, as so joint heirs, we going through Rome all over again. Rome reloaded, man. Going through that same straight gate.
Gotcha. This is Matthew 27:32. Now this is going to Yahweh Shai's crucifixion. And as he was bearing that cross, it states, and as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. So Simon assisted Yahweh Shai in what? Bearing his cross to the crucifixion. And from a spiritual standpoint, that's symbolic for us partaking in Yahweh Shai's crucifixion. We're all joint heirs, like you said, right, bro?
Yeah, like Simon saw when he get back to the spirit, he heard Yahweh Shai's affliction. When you look to the word Simon, it goes back to affliction heard.
Damn. Damn, Simeon. That's right, smile.
Then you understand why the whole purpose for Yahweh Shai coming down was for the nation of Israel.
Yeah.
So you have to bear your cross, because we're doing this for our nation as well. We ain't just doing this for ourselves, it's ultimately for the nation of Israel to be built. So if the Lord had to come down and suffer for the nation, we have to suffer for the nation as well. And that's why again, the 144,000 gonna be on a whole nother level, because they had a greater weight put upon them.
And then they was with Yahweh Shai from the beginning. They were with Yahweh Shai from the beginning. You didn't have no father, no mother, no brother and sister. No, it was just Yahweh Shai and the 144,000. And they moved around in chariots as they were manipulating the elements based on the blueprint from the Most High. When he talks about how the spirit moved on the darkness, well, in the Hebrew that means hover. When you look up hover, it means to be suspended in air. What would have you suspended in air? A chariot. No bumblebees hover around a fucking flower.
Look at creation. They didn't have anything back there, because Most High said, he reached into the darkness, cleaned it out, the firmament made the firmament and all of that. So it was nothing for them to stand up.
Travel through the waters. Yeah, something wrong?
Come. This is the book of John, chapter 15, starting at verse 13. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend.
Meaning what? An example. I basically use myself as a shield so this brother can get away.
Yeah.
And then we do that from a spiritual standpoint by coming on the highways and the byways, being consistent. That's us doing it in the spirit.
Also rebuking one another.
And rebuking one another. Because if you know that he's going to touch that fire, you have to let him know to prevent him from getting burned or getting burned again.
Yahweh laid down his life.
Or it will be on us, huh, bro?
You know what I'm saying? Yahweh laid down his life for us so we
yeah,
can live, man.
yeah, definitely. That's the ultimate example. That's why when you go into what's that? The beginning, it's in Hebrews. Yeah, get that, bro. Finish our page. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 14, ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you.
Meaning what? You gotta walk it like you talking. You know what I'm saying? Live what you preach. Go ahead, bro.
Henceforth I call you not servants,
Right.
for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth.
Right, and so when you think about these niggas that sold out, their servants that you saw, they don't know the game plan, the true agenda of the New World Order. They're servants. Go ahead, bro.
But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father.
And a friend is also synonymous with what? A brother, man. So we're brothers. Go ahead, bro.
And one thing about a friend, you're gonna let him know what you got planned.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're gonna, you know, if you're planning to do something, you're gonna let him know what the plan is because, you know, friends, that's how friends are.
Yeah, what I said.
Yeah.
He said, I no longer call you servants, but friends, because you know I revealed unto you the plans of the Father.
Done. Hey, and just going back to the verse 13, how he said, the greater love no man have, that man lay down his life for his friend. And then 14 said, ye are my friends. So going back to, he laid down his life for his friends, man, which are his elect, man. Overall nation of Israel, but starting with the elect. All right, going back to verse 16. Well, yeah, verse 16. Ye have not chose me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit shall remain, that whosoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. He may give it you. These things I command you, that ye love one another.
Love one another, because a lot of laws are fulfilled when you first and foremost fear the Lord and keep His commandments, but also love your brother as you love yourself. A lot of laws are fulfilled by doing so. You know, and that's all the spirit and mentality of Yahweh Shah, because He did the same thing. That's why He came down and He taught. You know, He rebuked and He corrected. That's the love of Yahweh and Yahweh Shah. You know.
And when you think about the law, bro, since you said that, it really, like Yahweh Shah said, it hangs on how you treat the Most High, and basically how you treat the Most High and how you treat your brother.
And if I can say real quick, a lot of fruit has been brought by men making their bodies a living sacrifice, starting with our apostles and elders, man. You know, fruit was brought forth on the internet, but it started out by men going out on that front line physically, as they still do today, man, making their bodies a living sacrifice, man. So that was our apostles and elders putting their life on the line for, you know what I'm saying, a friend, as Yahweh Shah called his men.
I got a picture, just a quick one. And this is John 17:7, the ones where Yahweh said, because he was like saying that if I'm your friend, I don't know what you're doing, right? John 17:7. Now they have known that all things whatsoever you have given me are of you. Back up, bro.
This is the precept back in Hebrews 12. I mean, that you asked for. It's Hebrews 12 and 2. It says, looking unto Yahweh Shah, the author and finisher of our faith.
So it's not King Solomon, it's not King David, it's Yahweh Shah. So when we measure ourselves regarding a spiritual man, it must be after the format of Yahweh Shah, who is the true reflection of Yahweh. Go ahead, bro.
Who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross.
Meaning what? He gave up his life. You know, he was crucified for the sake of the nation, beginning with the 144,000. Go ahead.
Despising the shame.
Despising the shame.
And is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High.
And because he has done this, he's on the right hand side of the Most High. And if we bear our cross, we're going to be on the right side of Yahweh Shah. It's an extension. But also author and finisher of our faith. Author means what? The beginning of our faith. Finisher, the highest example. So when it comes to Yahweh Shah, there is no comparison. Go ahead.
Both KJV and
Hold
NT.
up, bro.
Verse 3, it says, consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against him,
Mhm.
that should be wearied and faint in your minds.
Mhm.
And this the NLT, it says, think of all the hostility he endured from sinful people.
Right.
Then you won't become weary and give up.
Right. So because he's the blueprint. He's the blueprint. He went through everything we went through because he has to be classified as the captain of our salvation. And at the same time frame, he can truly mediate because he went through all things. How can I speak for this brother? I don't know what the fuck he went through. I don't have no experience.
I don't know how I feel in the
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Yes, sir.
Oh no, I was just looking at the definition of friend in the etymology.
Okay. Yeah, get there.
We'll jump back to Ecclesiasticus again, 35:6. The offering of the righteous maketh the altar fat,
Right.
and the sweet savor thereof is before the Most High.
And that's the prophecies. That's doing the work, preaching, teaching, being watchmen. Go ahead.
Verse 7. The sacrifice of a just man is acceptable.
Now, who's the just man? The prophets. Right? And that is acceptable to Yahweh Shem Shah. Go ahead, bro.
And the memorial thereof should never be forgotten.
Meaning what? A living legend in the kingdom of heaven. And guess what? His legacy starts on this side. It's starting now. So that legacy is going to follow the elect man wheresoever he goeth, man.
This is where all the action is taking place.
That's right, bro.
This is the heaviest. This is the climax of the movie. You
That's
know,
right.
and then because when you watching a movie, the protagonist, he gets all his praise and accolades after he's accomplished the hardest mission or whatever it is that he had to go through. You know, he don't get it before or after, and he don't just be in his form of paradise wherever the end of the movie will be, and he started just getting accolades then. He got it during the time of when he was going through whatever he had to go through.
Right.
This,
Keep going.
I was gonna say, then in the end, that's when he got the praise of not only the people in the movie, but also too the people watching the movie. The people watching praised them too.
Do I have something?
No.
This,
Oh, look, see,
this is Luke 17:10. So likewise you, when you shall have done all those things which are commanded, you say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do. Now this is Yahushua speaking. And when you investigate unprofitable, it means the definition, hyperbole. Hyperbole. I think that's how you pronounce it. Hyperbole. But it means what? Or, you know what? I think it's hyperbole. But anyway, the definition means an exaggerated statement. So, of course, if we do the will of Yahweh Shem Shah based on the grace that is supplied to us from the heavens, of course we don't be saved, man. Yahweh Shah made that statement just to keep the elect humble. Hyperbole, yeah. Okay, hyperbole.
this is Sirach 39. I'm gonna read verse 1 and I'm gonna slip down. It says, but he that giveth his law to the mind, like he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof.
And you gotta sell out to the Most High. When you meditate something, you're fully invested. Meditate goes into thinking. This is what you're thinking about. This is your main concern. This is what means the most. Out of everything you have going on in your life, this is the primary focal point. Go ahead.
And is occupied in the meditation thereof,
Right.
will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies.
And we do that by examining the scriptures. If you're occupying something, you're making yourself busy. For example, if you go to a bathroom and knock on the door, if it has occupied on there, somebody's inside that bathroom. So when it comes to the truth, we can't be vacant in our law. We have to occupy ourselves within the scriptures.
If you can only Call of Duty, you play the game. If you're not starting your mission and you playing online, they'll kick you out for inactivity. You know what I'm saying? So how much more the spirit within the truth?
That's a game. Hey, you like that a lot. Idol.
Jump down to verse 8. It says, he shall show forth that which he have learned and shall glory in the
And how we
law.
do that? How we show for what we learn? So we study, we come out here, we put out the videos, we teach it. We listen to our elders and things of that nature. We learn from them, and then we come up with our own concepts, and we build on that, and we publish videos. You can't just sit on your talent.
I was
man.
just gonna say, like you already go into your talent.
Go
that
ahead,
end.
bro.
No, that was it. That was it.
Yeah, Matthew 5 and 16. Let your light so shine before men.
Your light is this truth. You being part of a camp. Yeah, it's good to do precepts and put precepts on the comment board, but if you know that your duty is a prophet, then you have to fulfill those obligations, or the Most High is going to take that spirit away from you.
Faith without works is dead.
That's it, man.
Yeah. And, like I said, Ezra said, recording again, said he saw them stand stiff for the name.
Yeah.
So you have to actually be out there, standing stiff.
That's it, bro.
Let your light so shine before men
We're doing it. We're doing it. Go ahead.
that they may see your good works.
Right? They see it. Because, hey, basically, if you don't come to Mississippi, but through the Spirit of Yahweh, we publish our videos on the YouTube. Yeah, or Mississippi. Mississippi coming to you, right?
And glorify your Father which is in heaven.
And how do you do that? By declaring the names, man. Go ahead, my brother.
This is 1 Peter 4 and 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh.
Prophecies. And hey, I think your first scripture today was what? Hey, the spirit of prophecy is the indication of that Yahweh Shai is dealing with you. That's the Holy Spirit. Being able to prophesy. Go ahead, bro.
If any man ministers, let him do it as of the ability which Yahweh Bashem Yahweh giveth.
Right. We have a protocol. Right? And if you minister to somebody, that means what? You're serving them. So we're serving this word on YouTube.
That Yahweh Bashem Yahweh and all things may be glorified through Yahweh.
Right. If I could just say, hey, YouTube is the customer and we're the servants. You're the customers coming inside the restaurant. Right. And then we got we are now hiring signs. For the rest of the prophets that gotta come in.
To whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen.
And that's literal. Wow. Go ahead, bro.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, starting at verse 14. Ye are the light of the world.
That's it.
A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid.
Right. We're that city on this hill that cannot be hid. And if you look at it, the hill is in each and every town. You have camps in every town, right? Or every city. Go ahead.
Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel,
What's the purpose of light if you don't put? Go ahead, bro.
but on a candlestick,
Right.
and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
And that's what it's all about. Because once you do that, now everybody can see. And so we teach and preach to the Spirit of Yahweh so everybody can.
Verse 16, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works
By having your YouTube page is active and reporting to camp.
and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
And you have to pronounce and declare the name. If you just can't say our Father or the Most High, no, that entity as well as the Son, they have names. Go ahead, brother.
Look back at Sirach 39, verse 8 again. He shall show forth that which he hath learned, and shall glory in the law of the covenant of the Lord. Pick up the point, verse 9. Many shall commend his understanding, and so long as the world endureth, it shall not be blotted out. His memorial shall not depart away,
Living legend. Go ahead.
and his name shall live from generation to generation.
And what makes that name better by your fight? What Achilles say when people got him from Thessalonica? He came to him when there was a child. So the child was like, hey, that Thessalonica you're about to fight. He sure is big. I don't want to fight. I wouldn't want to fight him. And Achilles looked at that little boy and said, that's why nobody will never remember your name. So you get you a name by going against the great, the best. And right now it's Esau.
It's going to be 144,000 stories spoken of and talked about in the kingdom of heaven. Just like Esau, Edom, even his story is written in the scripture. You got Alexander the Greek, the Macedonian, the book of Maccabees, what he did, how he conquered, Antiochus. Their names are written. And it's in our history of what they did.
Herod.
So just think about what 144,000, like you said, going against the grain, and going against the most wicked empire that ever raised on the face of the earth. So wicked that he even brought back the Lord and Savior to come back to bring salvation to the elect of the nation of Israel. Your story is going to be heard throughout all ages. And then I'm reading verse 10. When it says, "Nation shall show forth his wisdom, and the congregation shall declare his praise." So even just going into the other nations, and maybe think about it, the other nations, when they have children and their children come of age, they're going to hear the stories of the Israelites, because they're going to benefit, after 1,000 years of slavery, of course, but they're still going to benefit off a righteous kingdom and a righteous empire ruled under the vibration of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. And the story of how it got to that point has to be told.
So, this is a quick quote. This from Benjamin, he Israeli. He stated, "The legacy of heroes is the memorial." No, it's like the legacy of heroes is the memory of a great name and the inheritance of a great example. I'm looking up with Ecclesiastes 41:13. "A good life have but few days, but a good name endureth forever."
And then with the kingdom of heaven, you're actually going to be living to see it. You see what I'm saying? You're actually going to be living to be talked about and to be reverenced like that. We're not going to have to die. We're actually going to be alive. So each and every one of us is going to have our own books about the life and trials of Yahweh and so on and so forth.
Like even within this wicked modern world, like you still hear about the patience of Job.
Yeah.
Or, like the story of Joseph.
Yeah.
How, our different forefathers stood on integrity.
It's Ecclesiastes 7:1. A good name is better than precious ointments, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
Right. So ointment is known for what heals you. But they said basically that a good name is better than a healing ointment, man.
Part of that name is a reputation.
That's right.
Having a good reputation behind it. Being diligent and serving Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, fearing it, all that's going to be talked about in the kingdom of heaven. Part of sitting on those 12 thrones is having the story behind how you got there.
And that's what makes that crown incorruptible. Because if your name basically is attached to an incorruptible crown, then you're at the highest of the highs. There's no more. There's no more competition that you have to face.
Like I was just going to say, which go back to looking at what you've done through past history, because we're reincarnated. So we got different names through that history. So we can go back and read, because our names were written in the book of life.
Yeah. That's it.
And your name's going to be attached to a legacy, just like Yahushua's name is attached to a legacy. We attach Yahushua with the kingdom of heaven. We ain't attached, Solomon and Adam, we attach Yahushua to the kingdom of heaven, even though he was those, but coming in his perfect form and doing the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, your name is going to be attached to a legacy off of what you did on this side.
This book of Hebrews, chapter 6, starting in verse 9. "But beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany salvation, though we thus speak. For the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have shown toward his name, and that ye have ministries to the saints and do ministry." So basically, going into how brothers are making their bodies a living sacrifice, going out on the highways and byways, preaching the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, done repented, turning from the ways of wickedness, obeying laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability, not sitting on our talent, utilizing what the Lord have blessed us in our lot. Okay? The Lord is not going to forget that as long as we continue to endure, man. Those are those spiritual investments, man, that's going to pay off in the eternal kingdom, man, as long as we continue to push, believe in how Bashim Yahushua, and not take our hands off the plow and look back, man.
Face the east. All praises to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash.
a double honors to the apostles, the elders. Salutations to you, sincere brothers, teaching in truth and sincerity. Kwame Shalom.
Kwame Shalom.
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 Shalom.